Both sides together is what the Pope has said his trip is all about. And so this morning I want to spend a little time understanding where each faith is coming from, both the Muslim side and the Christian side. Joining us this morning, the founder of the American Society for Muslim Advancement, Imam Faisal Abdul Rauf. And also joining us, Father James Martin. He's the associate editor of America Magazine and the author of My Life with the Saints. Nice to see you both. It's been a long time since I've had a chance to talk face-to-face with both of you. We've been told that this is a fence-mending trip, and that some of the words we'll be hearing from the Pope will be unity and brotherhood and coming together. Will we hear, do you think, Imam, will we hear an apology? Does he need to have an apology for the Muslims, many of whom are clearly very angry still?
Well, I just came back from Turkey a couple of days ago, and the key concern there certainly is with the history of Cardinal Ratzinger and his opposition to Turkey's entry into the EU. That's the driving force right now. So
you think it's not about this quote that he gave in his speech back in September, but more about the Pope's position that the EU needs to sort of be more Christian, linked through Christianity,
yes,
necessarily,
and less Muslim presence in Europe. This is one of the issues of the perception, certainly in Turkey. However, we do feel, Muslims certainly do feel, that in his Regensburg speech, he took a swipe at Islam which was uncalled for. So the perception in Turkey, certainly when I was there before his coming, was that he's trying to mend fences between the Vatican, the historic rift between the Catholic Church and the Orthodox Church at the expense of Muslims. However, I believe this is an opportunity, nevertheless, for the Pope to really do a great big step towards mending fences between Islam and Christianity, which is very much needed.
Turkey is 99% Muslim. So why is he making this trip to a country where the Christian population is this big?
Well, initially, as the Imam was saying, he was going as a result of an invitation by the Ecumenical Patriarch Bartholomew. And
the Orthodox Christian Church meeting with the Pope.
Right, and since at least John the 23rd in the 1960s, the Catholic Church has been interested in reaching out to the Orthodox Church. I mean, just for obvious reasons, we want Christian unity. And then the second reason for his trip is obviously to reach out to Muslims, which has taken on more urgency after his talk in Regensburg.
What do you think his message needs to be? Apparently he's going to be holding at least 2 public meetings. What do you think his message, he's definitely refrained from doing an apology. He's sort of done the I'm sorry you're unhappy version of an apology as opposed to I'm sorry for what was said. So I would imagine it's not going to be, that kind of apology is not going to be forthcoming. What can he say that can mend fences then?
Well, I think he can stress unity. There's a great phrase from John the 23rd, who himself worked in Turkey. He said, in the essentials, unity, in differences, dialogue, and all things charity. And so starting with, the things that bring us together, I think is a great way to start off. And anything symbolic he can do, he's visiting the Blue Mosque in Istanbul to show his respect for Islam, I think will go a long way.
Do you think that there's more than that he needs to do beyond visiting the Blue Mosque?
I mean, I think if he takes a neutral position on the issue of Turkey's desire to become a member of the EU, that would do a big step, or better yet, even say he endorses it.
No, he's done exactly the opposite of that. Do you really expect that to happen?
Well, at least if he takes a neutral stance, in other words, to de-link religion from the political aspects of a thing, that would be a great step forward, because what we need to do in much of the world today is to de-link the government policies from being part of religious agendas. That's very key. Second to that, he can also express his commitment to further dialogue. There are many, many brilliant scholars in the Vatican on Islamic studies and Arab studies. He could make a commitment to visiting other Muslim countries like Egypt, like Syria, Saudi Arabia, which are very important Islamic countries. So he could do a lot more.
What he does next will really be sort of the proof in the pudding. Gentlemen.
We're all watching.
Yes, and we are too, as we follow the Pope around live today. Thank you very much for talking with us, Imam Faisal Abdul Rauf. He's the founder of the American Society for Muslim Advancement, and Father James Martin, the associate editor of America Magazine. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Soledad.
Miles?
Coming up, a promising new development that could make it much easier for women to detect breast cancer. No needle biopsy necessary. Dr. Sanjay Gupta has that. And not